Welcome everybody to second day or second game of day 2 of the Group D for the Bridon Open Cup. It is Album Sheet versus Aspera in this best of one, and well, unfortunately we are horribly delayed. According to the schedule, this should have started 40 minutes ago. Of course, the first game started way later than it should have, so that's what some of the delay came in from, but Album Sheet also didn't manage to get a fifth player, and a crap ton of stand-ins, as we can see for both teams. Of course, for Album Sheet, I think they played with at least 3 of the same heroes yesterday, so that's a good sign, but other than that, not looking too great. But we're of course HeflaTV, I'm Coucher, and I'm gonna be joined by Grandis V-Man. How you doing?
Doing just fine. At the very least, Aspera's lineup resembles their team. Album Sheet, I mean, you have like Inquisitor and Afterlife, but that's about it. I have no idea about the middle three.
Yeah, all I know is that Ultra Headshot or Ultra HS Paraban, he played yesterday as well with them, but it's just, first of all, it is so weird for me to see Album Sheet without Big Num.
It really is. I haven't casted them as of late, and it'll be interesting to see their team synergy. It also looks like Afterlife's having some sort of loading issues, so hopefully we'll be able to sort that out shortly.
Yeah, one can only hope, man. Just, I have no idea why the just universe works like this, but if there are delays, there will be more delays every single time. It just can't be like, oh, the first game was late, everything else will go smoothly the entire day. Nope, just cannot be.
No, it really can't. It ends up snowballing off of each other. Either way, we actually do have everybody loaded in, so hopefully the draft will progress.
Yeah, and coming actually into this game, at the moment, Album Sheet, they are with a score of 1-1. I do believe they did lose up against London Conspiracy yesterday and won against Little Busters Forever. And Team Aspera won against Little Busters Forever plus London Conspiracy yesterday. So Aspera actually, for the time being, is number 1 in the group. Of course, only 2 games played, still 4 games to go, but I mean, to be honest, Sharfik, Hakon as well, they're names that I have seen quite a lot before, so I know they're good players. Just team synergy wise, no idea how well they're gonna work out in the long run, but they've been one of the more surprising just performances, I think, in this league all in all.
Well, definitely. They'll open things up in this game with a Troll Warlord first pick, and one of those heroes that's definitely come into vogue after a while of being sort of a fringe pick. He's definitely come into his own. Vengeful Spirit for Album Sheets, just going to be one of those standard and staple heroes of the meta right now.
Yeah, it's just so often you see they picked up a Viper, maybe not as popular, but Team Aspera, man, that they had this Lion plan. They didn't even care about what Album Sheet picked up. I think they're like, we're going for a Lion, guys. Of course, like Hex into the Troll Warlord, getting close enough to get his bashes going, for example. I mean, later on, if you have Battle Trance level 3, you're gonna be a Bash Lord. Whether you have like any items to just actually do damage or not, you're gonna be bashing still.
Yeah, and it really is scary when you have that raw amount of CC. The next phase of bans has already come through as well, both teams wasting no time with that. Puck Tide Hunter banned out by Aspera, and Darkseer Faceless Void taken out by Album Sheet.
Man, I would definitely would have loved to see a Darkseer. It's a hero that we don't see all that often these days. It can go for those peak plays, then again, at the moment, Aspera, it's not like they have the greatest of synergy with the Darkseer, but Vacuum into Earth Spike is decent enough, and even like Vacuum into the Troll melee Whirling Axes can be pretty annoying to deal with, because you're going to be missing 60% of the right clicks after that.
Yeah, it really feels like it's even more than that. It's really hard to find a target when you have that high mischance. Aspera going to snag up the Ancient Apparition for themselves, and already this is looking like a pretty darn scary aggressive Trillion if they want to go for it, or at the very least a scary Trillion. A lot of killing potential with these supports.
Yeah, it's just a chilling touch as well. It's so crazy. But then again, Album Sheet, it's not like their own Trillion would be that bad if they went with a Viper, for example. But we'll see how either side wants to run, as the Lycan is the pick for Album Sheet, so going for maybe somewhat of a pushing style here. Team Aspera, they don't have the greatest of counter push at the moment. I mean, ranged Whirling Axes, they don't really do any damage at all almost for the Troll. Earth Spike is like decent-ish, but Ice Blast probably one of the better ways to deal with pushing, just because you do have to clump up when you're going for the tower usually. Also, Ice Blast somewhat negating the Wood Restoration, so that's decent, but what do you see Team Aspera picking up now? I mean, the puck is already banned, so that's out of the question already as it is. Maybe an offlaner, some kind of.
Yeah, I think right now it's probably pretty safe to assume that they're just going to shore up that off lane, find some way to catch out Album Machine, particularly the Lycanthrope. I'd like to see the Batrider here just because he is such a solid hero and great at catching Lycan while he's out split pushing.
Yeah, the only downside for the Batrider would be that Vengeful is already there for Album Sheet, but it's definitely not reason enough to not go for a Batrider, but picking up a Phantom Assassin instead, I guess for man fighting it's pretty good. Blur is excellent up against Lycan and even up against Viper, but I think Phantom Assassin could have been left for the last pick as well. I'm not too sure it could have been banned out, of course, because it does serve a really hard carry role. But the Batrider now that you did bring up just banned out because of the fact that Phantom Assassin was the fourth pick.
Yeah, it is going to be scary if Phantom Assassin's able to stick on a target, especially if there's some backup from the line, and then you have the battle trance behind it. They're just going to be cleaved down so darn quickly by this PA, and that can be threatening, especially if any of one of these heroes are getting dueled. They do have some ways to globally bail them out, even if they're completely alone. You'll have battle trance and you'll have ice blast to try and help them out.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be too bad. And already from Album Sheet's lineup, one thing that they might find themselves lacking is just initiation. Legion, when he gets the Blink Dagger, it's going to get a little bit better, but up until the Blink Dagger, all they really have is just either a swap from the Vengeful, possibly, but level 1 swap isn't that great for that either. So that's like one thing they may have to work on a little bit. Or just maybe like a shapeshift and run in, but then again you won't have any slows to follow that up. So this Legion Commander's Blink Dagger is going to play a huge part on how much momentum Album Sheet can get going, I think.
Yeah, it definitely is going to be crucial, as most games, but I think you definitely hit the nail on the head that this one is going to be pretty important for them. Without the Leech Commander Blink Initiation, getting kills with Witch Doctor Death Ward is going to be pretty hard for them. Axe going to be the last pickup for Aspera, and although it isn't going to be the Batrider initiation that we were talking about earlier, it's still going to be a really solid way to jump into the enemy team, and I quite like this pick.
Yeah, up against Lycan, Axe is just great, because Lycan, in like, I'd say, who knows about the real stats, but at least 70% of the games, I'd say that there's going to be a Necrobook on Lycan. So, lots of units, and even without the Necrobook, there's still Wolves there. It's just the Blink Berserker's Call, the more units, of course, the more counter Helix procs. So, I think it's a pretty nice pickup, also like Berserker's Call into Ice Blast or something of the sort. It's just now, how did Team Aspera themselves lane this? Is it Axe offlane? It kind of feels like that, right?
Yeah, it definitely does. Whether he actually stays in that offlane for very long is another story entirely. Probably once he gets level 2 or 3. Whenever he feels like he can't stay in lane, which up against a Witch Doctor, Venge, Lycanthrope, is probably going to be pretty early on. He'll probably just head off in towards the jungle, and he'll be able to find his Blink Dagger, especially if there isn't any further shutting down of the Axis farm.
Yeah, it's always nice to have like any kind of offlaner that can go into the jungle if need be, if things get really just bad on the offlane. Of course, at the moment Aspera, you brought up a possible aggressive tri-lane earlier on. They can still run it with, to be honest, any of the three cores. Even Axe aggressive tri-lane isn't too bad in most cases. So we'll see if they want to run that with any of their heroes, but as the game starts, we of course have to be paused because there is no other way to start the game.
Absolutely not. To introduce the Aspera side, Sharfik going to be playing on the PA, Hakan on the Axe, the Apathy on the Troll Ward, leaving our supports to be Vaxa on the Ancient Apparition, and Metrum on the Lion.
As for Album Sheet, as we have another pause, it's going to be Inquisitor on the Vengeful, leaving Aiva up on the Lycan with Ultra Headshot, Paraban playing the Viper with a Bash on the Witch Doctor, leaving Afterlife as the last one to play the Legion Commander. And man, I hope it's Aiva. It should be, because, well, he's using the Russian I, so I guess the B is a V. Who the hell made up the freaking Krillic, like, language part? I don't know.
Oh, some monks.
It's just so freaking weird, man.
Yeah, definitely for people more used to whatever.
It just doesn't make any sense. Like, let's start changing letters, man.
I mean, yeah, there definitely is some reason behind it.
It's like, why would some countries on the globe want to just drive on the wrong side of the road? It's just, we want to be different. We have a need to be different. Got to do it, guys.
I suppose so.
Oh,
Yeah.
but still paused for kind of an unknown reason. I guess nobody's disconnected, right? Some kind
No.
of spectator connected in now. I don't know. Maybe they were like, oh, some spectator is disconnected, we got to pause, guys.
No, it really feels like just the standard pause at the start of pretty much every game.
I just don't understand what can be wrong every single game. Maybe if you play from like an internet cafe and you're using different PCs every single time, so there are like minor settings you still have to fix out. But even then, just have like your config file on a USB or something and just go. I don't know.
Maybe somebody's AFK, they expected the draft to be longer.
Well, that can be very true, to be honest. Now Legion Commander does disconnect. So I guess that might have been the thing from the start. But this draft, it was really fast, wasn't it?
Yeah, it definitely was. Both teams barreled through, especially the mid portion of the draft, which usually a lot of teams take their time. For both of these teams, they picked all 4 of those heroes in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, usually this just like the first picks take a little bit longer maybe, but... Wow, I have no idea. I guess the teams may know each other well enough. I mean, both being from the CIS region, of course, probably playing up against or screaming up against each other quite a lot. Or even if not screaming, just meeting each other in different tier 2 tournaments. So I guess they know a little bit more about each other than we do about them. But man, it just blows to be paused all the time.
It really does. Hopefully we'll be able to get all of these
There's
issues
only like
sorted
one
out.
positive here, that we're probably gonna be in schedule for like the 4th game, because there's a 2.5 hour, like not a break, but the 4th game starts 2.5 hours after the 3rd game is scheduled, which should start in 38 minutes. But I have a feeling that the 3rd game will not start in time.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Man, so hopefully at least the 4th game will start on time, because there should be plenty of time to finish game number 3 before the 4th game is even close by.
Oh yeah, definitely. Even with almost a 40-minute delay on this game, doesn't actually come close to hitting 2 hours. Especially with these drafts, I don't expect this game to be like a 2-hour Naga sleep fest.
Man, I hope not, because last game I saw, the start, we had like, I think, 1 kill in the first 13 minutes or something. And it's not like there was mass ganking going on and they just failed to get killed. It was just farming. It's like, what, guys? Dudes, do not play like Dota from God knows how many years ago.
I mean, we are kind of starting to slip back into that where it's really risky to play aggressive, even if you get a huge advantage toward yourself. If you mess up one fight, it's pretty much all over at that point. So you kind of do want to be just trading farm a little bit more, getting those small advantages. And yeah, who knows?
Yeah, definitely is teams just, especially in the higher tiers. To be honest, you could already see it at TI4 as well, that once the level of play like gets higher, just the calculation aspect takes over the spontaneous part of your mind, kind of. Otherwise, people are like, oh yeah, let's go, we're doing so well, let's go get kills or whatnot, let's go push, we totally can do this. But as the stakes get higher and the skill as well, they just calculate a little bit more about if it's even worth it, and most of the time it's just better to like farm up 3 different parts of the map while the enemy's only getting like 1 or 2 parts of it, something like that, rather than just go in for a risky push.
Yep.
So
And while we're paused, why does Trollord not have cosmetics yet?
does he need cosmetics, man?
No, he looks pretty good, but since he looks pretty good, what's the reason? What's the holdup? Looks like we have deletion back, so hopefully start.
God, we can only hope, man. Just, it's always so awkward. If it had been at least like 2-3 minutes into the game, you could analyze something, but just literally no items purchased. Or, well, never mind. Some people have items, but even then, it's not like this was a game like, oh god, which heroes are gonna be the cores, who knows? All was pretty straightforward.
Well, for now, it looks like Aspera are going to prep themselves up for an aggressive tri-lane, going to throw the Ancient Apparition Lion as well as the Troll down towards bottom. Whether they actually stick down here is another story, but it looks like that's going to be the case. As far as the mid lane is concerned, Aspera going to throw their axe in mid. This could be risky if it's against a Viper, but it looks like for now, Lycanthrope's going to be the mid matchup, and all of these lanes should be pretty favorable for Aspera.
Yeah, it's just, even if the axe had been up against a Viper, his lane wouldn't have been the greatest. I think he would still be in like semi-fine in that lane. But that would have just meant that the aggressive tri lane is going up against a Lycan tri lane, which really isn't all that scary. So it would have given Aspera a huge advantage in the tri lane at least. But now, with the Viper being there, just Witch Doctor, Vengeful, and a Viper is actually not that easy to engage into. So Aspera have to be a little bit careful, but just man, we're probably gonna see how strong a Chilling Touch can be.
Definitely, especially on a target like Witch Doctor with sub 500 HP at level 1. If a Bash gets caught out of position, he is completely hosed. For now, the Dire team are going to look for wraparound in smoke, and it looks like we might see how squishy that Witch Doctor is as they find him over in the sidelines. Chilling Touch, and this is a dead Witch Doctor. I'm not sure as much he can do, except for throw that cask and then fall.
And Troll does get the first blood there as well. Lion's right click started flying earlier than the Trolls, but Trolls is just faster, so he got the first blood. Definitely a good hero to have it on, especially should he go for a straight off Ring of Passive, for example, with that. Some kind of mana regen and extra armor is always going to be nice in the tri lane, I think. But nice early start, and Witch Doctor, he was just kind of in the worst position to deal with that kind of gank coming in.
He really was. Lion also going to secure that bounty rune, which is really important for a Lion in particular. Ancient Apparition, as soon as he gets his level 6, it is scary, but for right now, all he needs is that Chilling Touch. Once Metrum gets level 2, however, the raw amount of CC is going to be forcing AS to do something about it. For now, it is just going to be a try v try, and they have some howl damage coming out from the Lycanthrope, but advantage towards the Aspera.
Yeah, and as the howl is used at the moment, you can see Aspera, they're just kind of posturing themselves a little bit more defensively. Of course, the lane is pushing out anyway as this, so they had to back off there anyway, but it's just, when you know the howl is coming out, Aspera probably won't take the chance to just fight into them, but knowing that the howl is on cooldown, that's probably going to be the Q time. Maybe they're waiting for the level 2s first though. Lion is already level 2 though, so both the X and the Earth Spike being there just gives them so much extra time to go for a single target.
Yeah, it would be
wonderful.
wonderful.
Mid lane, Berserker's Call comes out, counter Helix Man, spin to win, no Hakon, oh, look, what? He only got one spin, now he gets the second and the third while Lycan is already out of range. That was so unlucky by the Axe.
It really was. It was really sad to see him also spin right after he gets out of it. He is going to be salving up and looking to go aggressive again onto this Lycanthrope. And this is a lane that Lycan needs to be very scared of. This Axe is farming up a Storm and just putting so much pressure on an otherwise pretty solid mid-hero. Afterlight versus PA is the matchup that we haven't talked about, and probably for good reason. But in the meantime, we have a rotation coming in from a Bash, as well as Inquisitor, potentially towards the mid lane, or maybe they swing all the way up towards top. Bench and Witch Doctor want some blood.
Yeah, it was the Phantom Assassin drawing a line as well on the map, just showing the support or possible support rotations there. So we'll see where they will go. The smoke is gonna expire though, and that's a little bit unfortunate. I'm not too sure what they were waiting for, or were they expecting somebody to come from that way? No clue, but we do have another disconnect on Afterlife, who at the moment is 11-0 compared to a 10-2 Phantom Assassin. So it's all even on the top lane. Has a magic stick already on himself because Sharfik, well, he's just going to be spamming the Stifling Dagger. That's what the Phantom Assassin does. But Axe not getting the kill on Lycan is huge for Lycan just because at least he has a Ring of Passive now. I thought he might be saving up for a bottle, but still got to purchase up something. But Lycan, man, not going to be an easy lane like you mentioned. So far, it is rather even-ish there. But Axe, as he gets more points into Outer Helix and Berserker's Call, the harder Lycan's life will become.
It's actually a very interesting ward placed by Aspera. If you take a look at that, it's very, very defensively inside their jungle. It's not something that I would have expected, and honestly, I don't think it's going to be doing very much. It might have been nice if they were protecting a jungle farmer, but even then, I think a ward over in, like, I don't know, maybe this vicinity would have been a little bit better.
I mean, I would expect so. This ward really feels like we have an Axe jungle who we have to defend ward.
Yeah, it really does.
I really don't know what was the thought behind that. Just, they placed it down rather early on as well. Maybe they were expecting kind of an aggressive tri-lane but even then, I think if they were thinking that... okay, too much thinking, but... If the supports on album shit had been like around the area which goes into the mid lane, the stairs go like into the mid lane, behind the towers and everything, yeah, then... It just placed a ward there to spot out the support rotations. I have no idea why it's there where it is. Probably somebody just is lazy, like, screw it. I can't be arsed to run farther away. I'm just gonna pop it down here.
Potentially. I don't know. It would be interesting to listen to the players. Maybe it is just them not really wanting to commit any further towards it, or maybe it was just an honest misclick. Who knows?
They might have been like slightly afraid of somebody being on the next high ground or something, so they're like, we don't want to go up the next stairs or into it or something like that, and we're just gonna place it down here. Who the hell knows? But all I at the moment know is that first of all, that ward is confusing me, and second of all, man, I hope to God that Afterlife, once he reconnects, he's gonna have all of his shit fixed.
The hopes, at least for me, are not very high for this Legion Commander. Having difficulty loading, and now we're in the second pause, so yeah, hopefully that's the case.
Of course, if the pauses like go on for too long, at one point, however unfortunate it may be, the team should be like, screw it guys, we're just go like 4 versus 5. But that's if those go on for like super long, like 30 minutes, something pauses maybe, but it's just every now and then it does come to a point where there is no reason for just you to keep the game paused any longer, because it's just going to be ridiculous. If you're going to sit
Yeah.
like a 2 minute mark for God knows how many minutes, it's like nobody, the viewers won't benefit anything, the players themselves, the schedule will get screwed up even more, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, very well. So for now, we're kind of just stuck. There isn't anything immediately that's going to happen. It looks like the smoke rotation from Ink Visitor as well as from the Witch Doctor isn't actually going to accomplish anything. I doubt that the Axe is going to get cut out, and even if he was, pretty darn tanky and not the easiest of kills for this combination. Even with a decent amount of CC between them, it really kind of feels like Ink Visitor and Abash are just going to be going back towards bottom.
And that's, that's just so much time wasted. Viper, I guess he can hope to survive in this bottom lane without the supports, but definitely not too easy for him to pull out. And if Album Sheet had he sent the Viper mid lane and Lycan bottom lane, do you think the laning would be like considerably better for them, or would it only make a small difference?
I think right now it probably would have just made a very small difference. Even though Viper is really scary against melee heroes at the early levels, Axe doesn't really care that much. He can play very aggressively up against the Viper if Viper's not careful about his positioning. And bottom lane, First Blood probably would have gone down exactly the same way if Lycan was there. I don't see him contributing anything to that. And yeah, I really don't think now it would have changed anything. Maybe in the future we'll see some sort of rotation coming out from the Lycan in particular as he goes off in towards the jungle. But for now, he'd really like to have a little bit more farm.
Okay, so Afterlife is back. He is like, go, sorry, computer, comp, something. Okay, so the last 2 words I have no idea, but go, sorry, comp, something.
It's better than I could have come out with that, so we'll just be thankful for any small bits of translation that we can have.
So, just advice, dust your freaking computer every now and then. But bottom lane, imagine he gets close enough for the Hex, has a double damage level, Earthquake will come out. Only 1 second stun, but plenty with the double whirling axes coming out from the Apathy. So another easy kill for them. And I was saying he might not have trouble surviving there without his supports, but just nice Ice Vortex first of all to slow down the Viper for the Lion to get in range for the Hex. And Viper didn't even have boots, nope. So I guess Lion with boots is a lot faster than a Viper anyway.
Definitely. So right now, it's really scary for them. And Lycan again in mid, going to be aggressed upon by the Axe. Not able to get enough spins, but at the very least, he's forcing this Lycan out of the lane. He actually can't CS that much.
Man, Hakon definitely not an RNG Jesus, by the looks of it. I mean, once again, Lycan just escapes the range and suddenly there's the call, or there's the counter helix. I mean, if you have 4 creeps attacking at you, with the Lycan being there as well, you should get at least 2 spins, to be honest, during the Berserker's call.
Yeah, you probably should, but Lycan going to escape his death, and this time around, it doesn't look like he's going to get very many spins either. He gets 2. That's enough to drop Lycan low, but not low enough to secure the kill. When the supports were rotating in, that gave Lycanthrope a little bit of space, I suppose, but it definitely doesn't make up for the fact that bottom lane is an absolute train wreck. This Viper is 8-1s, died once, and there's just really nothing that makes up for that fact. Viper's a hero that really wants to be dominating the lane, and if he doesn't really contribute much to his team throughout the game.
Yeah, so at the moment it really feels like Album Sheet, Afterlife is kind of the saving grace, or is going to have to be the saving grace Legion Commander farming reasonably well. I mean, Phantom Assassin slightly better than him, but Afterlife, once he gets at level 6, just duel into, or just overwhelming odds against the tri-lane is going to be massive, but they're man fighting with Sharfik at the moment. Afterlife, first of all, went chasing Sharfik, but as he came into tower range, Sharfik like, hey, I can actually turn things around. But mid lane, Aiva in some trouble as a hasted Metrim comes in. My god, what? Where the hell did he run? Oh, they're thinking Lycan escaped into the trees. A little bit unfortunate by them, just nighttime vision screwing themselves over with the gank. But I mean, it's not like they lost anything.
No, definitely not. Troll continuing to farm away in bottom. Axe, although it's a little bit of time that he's spent looking for that lycanthrope, it's just more and more pressure applied to this Lycan where he's not actually getting anything. And I don't think the Lion being in bottom would have gotten them any kills there. And at the very least, you're trying for it. And if they spotted him out, it would have made this Lycan even sadder if that's possible.
It's definitely hard to think of him as being more sad than he is at the moment, but at the very least hasn't died yet. 14 last hits as well, although he's now getting doubled up by the axe. So things probably will get more difficult. Axe being level 6 now as well. So this time around, even if the counter helix doesn't kill you off, if it just brings you low enough, you might die anyway. And no Berserker Skull yet, Hakon. He's biding his time here. But a pretty passive game if we just don't look at the 2 kills that have happened.
Yeah, really all we had was that one rotation coming out from AS, and that didn't net them anything, and outside of that, it's just isolated kills in bottom, one rotation from the Lion. But really all of these lanes have maintained pretty much exactly what they started with, as far as who's actually staying in that lane. Leech Commander saving up towards that blink, as is the Axe. Akan going to look towards the bounty rune, he gets it bottled before the Lycan's able to deny it out with the Wolf.
He even used the Berserker Skull just to make sure the Lycan Wolf does not deny that. Of course, did lose a little bit of mana, but getting a full bottle for it is definitely worth it. I mean, it's only 90 mana for the Berserker Skull. Also, getting the Wolf kill there, getting some gold from it, and that's going to be Tranquil Boots finish now. Going for a Magic Stick as well. So Blink Dagger most likely will be next. That's the Apathy. And Invis Troll is around. There's going to be a slow Earth Spike, not following yet Berserker, not the Berserker Skull, but the Paralyzing Cast doing lots of counter damage. 30 Hex, way too late as Metrim gets the Earth Spike, but I think it's going to go down. Poison Attack and the Maledict. Aspera, I have no idea what that initiation was all about.
I like the idea, but I'm not sure what they expected any further. Mid lane Axe going to be going again towards the Lycanthrope, not going to find anything. At the very least, they force out a rotation from Afterlife and open up some space for their Phantom Assassin, but still, they'd much rather not have given away that kill on the Lion. He is leveling decently well. This Leech Commander has yet to find a dual target and might be setting her sights on mid, but I don't think they're going to be able to find anything, although they'll bring in some support from the Witch Doctor, drop the overwhelming odds, and try to chase down Akan. Let's see if they get in range. They are going to be able to get the duel. Where's the damage immediately? They're going to pop the Shapeshift form and try to munch him down. They won't be able to get dual damage. The call, he might be able to turn this. Afterlife isn't going to get dunked down, and instead is going to lose his life. The extra stick charges from Leech Commander being pretty crucial there.
Yeah, stick saved him, otherwise would have gotten dunked. Pretty sure Axe would have died anyway there, just because Lycan did have the Shapeshift activated. But still, he stays alive. At least it doesn't give away, or at least the Axe doesn't give away dual damage, so that's decent, but delaying the Blink Dagger on Axe is going to be absolutely crucial for Album Sheet. And Legion Commander, he did prove to be useful, so his rotation somewhat working out or paying off there as well. Bottom lane though now, the Apathy still farming up on the Troll, already has Face Boots, as well as going for possibly that Helm of the Dominator. I definitely think it's Helm of the Dominator rather than a Armlet, but who the hell knows.
Yeah, we'll just have to see. For Sharfik, Phantom Assassin has gone for Phase Boots as well as Aquila, but inside the woods. Magic Missile flying the way of the Ancient Apparition. Let's see if they're going to be able to follow it up. They have some Howl damage in backup, and the Viper coming in from the side. Going to throw the Viper Struck. The way of the Apathy is Fox is just going to give up his life towards the enemy team, securing their retreat of the Troll at the very least, but AS, they've come back 3-2.
It feels like the long pause or something made Aspera question their decisions, or I don't know what exactly happened, but Album Sheet, I think they're getting more than they should have from this laning phase at this point in time. Just Aspera felt a little bit maybe too eager. Top lane though, they might get the kill on Afterlife if Hakon gets it. He spins randomly, what the hell attacked him there, but Afterlife gets slowed down, pressed attack of course. He's going to get rid of the slow of the Stifling Dagger and he's going to be just fine to escape, but was it a random like range creep from God knows where, from a camp or something that attacked the axe there?
Honestly, I don't know. I wasn't paying enough attention to the things that were not close to what the action was happening. He just felt like he spun pretty randomly.
Got to make up for the spins you don't get when your berserkers call a target, man.
More or less. Right now, although Album Sheet have been able to find themselves a little bit more room on this map, they aren't farming as quickly as Aspera, mostly because of just the early part of this game, and things are still looking okay for them, but we really feel like there needs to be a Blink Dagger on the Axe or Legion Commander before things really start happening for either side.
Yeah, and at the moment, Legion Commander is closer to his own Blink than Axe is to his. Of course, the bottle probably making a slight difference there. Now, though, the Apathy might be in trouble again. Inquisitor, for some reason, not throwing out a stun. As the Apathy just gonna run into Roche Pit. Probably not the best place to run into, but he's gonna be fine for now. Gonna take a rune, a bounty rune. Not denied by the Wolves once again, so it's gonna be fine, but we had a little bit of action a couple of minutes ago. Now everybody's just trying to farm, but Hakon, back to the top lane he comes. Afterlife, it senses it's coming, or he senses it's coming somehow, and will run away.
Poor Ogre Frostmage going to be dropped incredibly low by the Wolves coming out from the Lycanthrope. That's Troll's Creep that he's decided to go for with the Helm, and it's pretty nice up against AS's team, and I'd like to see him stick around with it, but for now, probably needs to go back to base or heal or do something about it.
So Aspera, they've taken more like a dual lane approach for now, but Lion, thanks to that, he's been in the mid lane up to 1.2k gold, has his level 6, so Finger of Death is there. Suddenly, you don't really have to rely on counter Helix anymore, just get the Berserker's Call, get the Finger of Death and the Dunk to follow. I mean, I guess you're not going to be able to kill them with just those two spells, but with the two heroes, you should be able to kill off anybody when the Finger of Death is off cooldown.
More or less. The Apathy's been farming up some, excuse me, Ancients over in the sidelines. And for now, Aspera are just content getting more out of the map, or at least spreading their resources further across. They're going to get level 6 onto the Ancient Apparition pretty soon, and they're going to look to go aggressive down towards bottom, smoked up with Metrum as well as the Troll Warlord, and let's see what they're going to find. Viper is going to take the bait onto the Ancient Apparition. They turn, they have some TP support coming in on the backline, slowing up Ultra Age Chess, and they do get the crit from the Phantom Assassin, should be able to bring down this Viper kill. He turns for the Viper Strike, and that's probably going to be the end. Ancient Apparition's life. The Wolves coming up from the Lycanthrope should be able to clean this one up, or will they? Juking through the side, he is going to get the stun onto the Lycan Wolves, and for now, everybody's going to survive.
Yeah, Sharfik even sharing a bottle charge there as well to the Ancient Apparition. Earth Spike was used to just stop the Wolves. So, nice team effort there. Of course, the Ice Armor definitely coming into play there from the Ogre. So, 3-3, Viper down. A nice kill, but Lycan in the meantime, he is number 4 in net worth. He has the exact same as the Axe and more or less the Troll as well. So doing really well. As Inquisitor, he's gonna be in trouble. Slowed down by that Battle Hunger and well, Berserker's Call. If it lands, I think it's gonna be a kill. There's the Berserker's Call, but Shapeshift is activated from Iva. Does he really want to go in? Charfik comes in, but there's a dunk. Hakon will lose his own life with the help of Paraban on the Viper. And Charfik, he should be able to outrun anybody else. So it's gonna be a 1-for-1 favoring Album Sheet.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fine for them. Shutting down that Axe's Blink Tag, as you already mentioned, the Lycanthrope's done a good job of recovering as soon as he got access to his jungle. And since he didn't die, most importantly, this Lycanthrope has been able to find his farm eventually. He's going to bump into the Lion in mid. Not sure if he actually spotted out vision of him. I think he did, but nighttime vision can be a little bit finicky.
Oh, most certainly so. And the thing is for Aspera as well, if they don't have a Blink Berserker's Call for a Lycan who is shapeshifted, Metrum is gonna have a really hard time of actually landing that Earth Spike, because Hex, although it makes it so that Lycan cannot attack at the same time, he's still as speedy as he would otherwise. And Legion Commander, they do get that first duel win with his Blink Dagger. So they got their Blink first. Axe does finish his own Blink pretty much straight after the Legion Commander. So we're gonna see if Axe can also make his first Blink Dagger showing a success.
Yeah, then for Aspera, let's hope so. Both of these teams pretty much rely on the Legion and the Axe to control the pace of what they are actually able to accomplish inside this game. Both teams have a decent ways to transition that into tower pushes with the Troll Warlord as well as with the Lycanthrope, but unless they find some pickups, actually getting those towers is a different story. Axe going to set its sights down towards bottom, and let's see if this gank is going to be successful. Legion Commander again going to DC.
Oh man, Afterlife, please fix your stuff, dust your computer, I don't know. Because I have no idea if it's still like an internet issue or his hardware is messing up, but it's not fun for anybody probably. Yesterday there was a game, I think it was Aspera versus Little Busters Forever. There I'm not entirely sure, but I think Afterlife. Oh, never mind. Couldn't have been because Afterlife is for album sheet, but somebody had some kind of bug, so there was a load made for the game. But with the load, it's never gonna be like on the exact same second as the game is at the time. So once we actually loaded in, suddenly two pretty important kills happened, which otherwise did not had the game been played out normally. And suddenly it snowballed into like a couple of minutes after that, it being a victory for a team that otherwise was a little bit behind, maybe. So pauses can ruin lives, man. Of course, hopefully there's not going to be a load in, but just Aspera, they got off to a good start, kind of lost their momentum now, but I think they're still fine. All of the free cores are reasonably farmed. Lion has some pretty nice farm as well, so going towards a fast blink dagger, and late game, I'd probably favor Aspera also.
Yeah, just with the raw power of Phantom Assassin, especially once the Abyssal Blade comes out, that really feels like it's going to shore up their lockdown in a way that's going to make it really hard for Album Sheet to actually fight into. And even though Leech Commander theoretically can infinitely scale, she gets a lot of damage. Even if she does, Phantom Assassin's still incredibly scary, and I'm not sure if Afterlife's actually going to be able to stick onto any targets they decides throughout the entire game. We'll just have to see how that all plays out, but for now this game is incredibly even, slight advantage towards Aspera, and the gold graph and XP is in the favor of Album Sheet. Really nothing too noteworthy though.
Yeah, it's still pretty early in the game of course as well, but Album Sheet definitely, considering the start that they had, are looking pretty decent for the time being. Lycan has his Vlads, has the power to finish as well, so is it still Necrobook straight after? And I don't know what to follow, but do you even go for Necrobook? I still guess so. Album Sheet, if they want to take this to later stages and like build like a straight off Basher like and something like that, I think it's probably going to be a mistake.
Probably. I wouldn't mind him going for an Assault Cuirass a little bit earlier than normal, but I think Necrobook's probably the more standard approach and probably what we're going to see here. Armlet Lycanthrope, if he really wants to fight now, could also be an option. It really depends on what timing window the Album Sheet are going to look towards.
Well, at the moment, I guess just getting Necrobooks. Hopefully, they're not going to be using Necro level 1, because I think Necro level 1 is extremely underwhelming. It doesn't do enough damage for the fact that if they get farmed up, they're just going to give away so much, and it is so easy to farm up level 1 Necrobooks. Usually, I'd like to see at least Necro level 2 before it's used. Sometimes you can use level 1 if you're just solo pushing a tower and there's nobody else close by anyway from the enemy or something like that. Or if you use them, just make sure not to feed them.
Yeah. If Album Sheet want to make the most out of this mechanism coming up for the Viper, I'd really like to see them go for more of a fight-oriented Lycanthrope. And I'd really like to see an Armlet, but I don't really think I've seen like an Armlet for quite some time.
Yeah, I have to struggle to think about one as well. I mean, I've definitely seen it, but it was probably like November, December, maybe something like that, and like one Lycan out of the 100, something like that. So definitely not too popular of a build, unfortunately. So it's definitely extremely strong. At the moment, Album Sheet themselves, I guess they have a reasonable amount of lockdown for the Lycan to just go in with the Necrobooks as well. Otherwise, although your units and you yourself will be fast while the Shapeshift is activated, you're still going to lose some form of damage if you just have to chase down with yourself, with the units, and the units might end up blocking yourself a little bit as well and whatnot. But they do have a reasonable amount of lockdown for the Lycan and his units to at least properly stay on target without having to move too much. So Necrobook will be fine even for like battles if need be. But I definitely wouldn't mind an Armlet Lycan just...
Now that I think about it, Ancient Apparition completely wrecks Armlet, so I don't think we're going to be seeing it.
That is true enough indeed. I know there has been like some massive theory crafting about when you have an Armlet and you get hit by an Ice Blast, is it worth keeping the Armlet activated or do you have to disable it? Of course, if it's like a 17-second Ice Blast, you have to disable it, but there has been some form of theory crafting about if it's a just like level 1 Ice Blast without tagging him, like you just keep your Armlet activated and it's better. So it's too many numbers, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it depends on how much HP you have beforehand. It does get kind of sketchy. Either way, it's not something or a decision that you want to have to make, because it makes the Shadow Threshold effectively a lot larger if you keep it on or if you turn it off.
Well, Afterlife, man. Dude! Legion Commander, please Please stop delaying this game out. So, okay, good news. In 10 minutes, next game is supposed to start. As long as the next game actually starts on time, because this game started like I think 15 something minutes after the last one ended, and it's not like either of those two teams were involved in the previous game that they needed a break or something. This game just should have started like a little bit later than initially scheduled because the first game went for longer, but they should have been ready. But even with a 30-minute delay, unable to get 5 players in the lobby, man, just being there on time is... It kind of feels like you have to be a magician for that, or you have to be specially trained to be on time. I don't know, because nobody is almost.
Definitely not. At the very least, the last game of the day is going to be quite a bit longer, or a delay between the two, so we probably won't be having any huge schedule issues, but at the very least...
It's probably, we won't have schedule issues in a sense that the second or third game will not run into the fourth, but I'm almost positive that the fourth will not start on time anyway.
Yeah, I don't think it's because of any issue of these two games, but just because of the fact that nobody's actually going to show up.
Dota things.
Yeah.
However sad it may be, it's true. But the game does get unpaused, fortunately. So we had like I think 3 pauses for Afterlife now within the 13 minutes of game time. We've been paused at least for as long as we've had game time now, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a fairly conservative estimate.
Got to just try to keep positive, but at the moment, the apathy might be in some trouble, but then again, they're trying to bait out the Troll Warlord, and with this ward being there for them, I think they did see Hakon or Vaxa showing themselves. I'm gonna keep it, yeah, they see them now, so it's not gonna be a surprise, but Viper didn't start back enough in time. Berserker's call to slow things down, and it's gonna be a kill. Quite an easy one even at it.
Meantime, up towards top, Afterlife, with a double damage rune going to find a very easy kill onto the Lion. So across the map it's a 1-for-1, and Afterlife finds his second stack of damage. It's going to depend on whether or not Aspera get this tower after the fact, and since it's already so low, scratch that, it is going to be a favorable trade for them since they do snag a tier 1 and an instant smoke up as they look for blood.
It was a tier 1 also in the favor of Aspera. I'm not too sure if the dire side even used the glyph, I don't think so. So maybe a slight mistake there, maybe it wasn't cooldown, not entirely sure, but the smoke is used to go into Roshan, but the wolf comes in to scout things out. There is no sources of minus armor, but with the battle trance, should be rather fast for them anyway. I mean, the apathy can tank it up with the lifesteal that he has. But Album Sheet now, TP's coming into the mid lane, they smoke up themselves, and it's gonna be a Roche contest.
Let's see how this goes down. Could be very scary. Unfortunately for Album Sheet, they have no Leech Commander inside this fight. Hakan is over in the sidelines, has a Blink Call. He's not going to be able to catch anything. HF Ice Blast also completely whiffs. They go into Sharpic with the Magic Missile and will be able to bring him down. Witch starts channeling his ultimate, and that's going to be the Apathy's death. And now it's Album Sheet's turn to take the Roshan. The courier flies through. It stops. That's going to be a free courier on top of it. Aegis jumping from Hakan. He's looking to find the spins of his lifetime, but he's just not lucky enough. Or Spike Finger Death at least secures 1 kill for Aspera, but a train wreck for them.
Okay, so that was probably as bad as it could go. Blink Berserker's Call failed where it could have hit 4 heroes to begin with. Of course, they didn't have proper vision. They did place down a ward, but that was after the jump came in, so slight misplace coming out from Aspera. I mean, if you go for Roche, you have to make sure you have the vision there. Of course, the smoke helped up Album Sheet a little bit, but Axe should have gotten the perfect jump because he had the smoke himself. Of course, his own expired just before Album Sheet came in, but even then, there was no vision for Album Sheet. Ice Blast completely failed because of the Berserker's Call failing. And even the Finger of Death, it's a pretty long cooldown, and I guess you want to put it on cooldown, but just that one support kill didn't give them anything. And the courier coming in just... They were probably so frustrated about their abilities just missing that they completely forgot about the courier coming in.
Absolutely. If that first call and Ice Blast lands onto all 4 of those heroes, I think we see the exact opposite happening. A 4-man wipe would not be out of the question. And in fact, I think that probably would have been what happened. This is going to give Lycanthrope a lot of free time to farm with this Aegis, and now is the Necrobook.
Well, at least thanks to the pauses, it makes it pretty clear like how the graphs go up all of a sudden from that one fight. So suddenly Netherfleet is there for Album Sheet, almost 4k. XP 7,000, but there's another smoke from Aspera. They do not involve the Apathy, so I guess the Apathy will be the bait here, or maybe it's just gonna stay on lane, try to farm up, maybe pressure the tier 1 at the same time. But Album Sheet they are looking pretty damn strong for the time being. In late game, I still favor Aspera, but they have been failing. At least they have a Blink Lion now.
They might be able to find a courier. They do have a blink dunk if they want to spend it onto this courier, and they might, but let's see if they get the bigger fish to fry. Courier's going to fly through safely. They can fall into 2, focus down Afterlife. Afterlife going to lose his life. Dunk down by the Axe Witch Doctor, going to be able to get his paralyzing cask as well as the ultimate channeling over onto Hakan. Hakan is going to lose his life, and now Sharfik is going to be brought down by Inquisitor. TP attempt, very hopeful from the Ancient Apparition. All that Aspera find is that kill on the Leech Commander. It's not over yet as the Apathy trying to run away with the phase boots as well as his melee move speed. He should be fine to get out of here.
Yeah, he's going to be safe for now, but I thought Album Sheet might get a hell of a better trade. So they didn't kill the courier, they didn't go for the greed. Of course, it was a nice idea not to kill the courier because it could have led them to like a perfect Berserker Skull, and although the Berserker Skull was still decent, catching on 2 heroes, it was the fact that one of the heroes was hexed. So Berserker Skull will not get extra spins because that hex target will not be attacking you. Earth Spike only landed on 1, I think, didn't connect on the hex target, maybe, not entirely sure, but they even lose a tier 1, and Abash with the Death Ward got so much value out of that.
You really did. Over in the sidelines, bring down the Axe, and pretty much everybody. And the Witch Doctor's positioning has been pretty darn good throughout the last couple of fights, and just like that, Album Sheet find themselves in a very favorable position inside this game. All it took was 2 botched fights from Aspera, and their early game advantage, or slight advantage even at that, is completely out of their hands.
Oh, top lane, yeah, but he's gonna lose his life as well. Afterlife with the Blade Mail wins a duel, no double damage needed for that. Blade Mail, of course, against Troll, pretty damn good. Troll with the Fervor, only level 1 at the moment, but as the Fervor gets more points into it, the duel with the Legion Commander having the Blade Mail is gonna get stronger as well. Necro level 2 finished on Lycan, 400 short of the level 3. Also the mech, of course, definitely helping Album Sheet out in the fights. Just because Ice Blast really hasn't been there at all, it feels like.
Yeah, it's connected maybe once, and that one time was down in bottom after they lost the fight, and it really didn't connect on to much else than the Lycanthrope, and I think it really is the difference between the supports that's changing this game. Phantom Assassin going to be pursued by Lycanthrope and his Necro army, which is currently at level 2 and almost level 3. This Lycanthrope is going to have a very fast timing on that item completion. Up towards top, however, we have a Blink from Afterlife. He's going to catch out a Khan, and with that Blade Mail and the Witch Doctor Death Ward, nothing they can do. The Ice Blast lands on the Afterlife after the fact, but really that was such an easy pickoff.
Yeah, Death Ward wasn't even needed for it, but I think it's fine. It's not that long of a cooldown, and you just absolutely secure the kill, and with the Death Ward being down like that, if Aspera wants to come in as mid lane, there's the Blink Hex coming out. They slow down Baraban, and that's gonna be a kill, so they get a return. Definitely nice, but are they gonna lose a couple? Inquisitor will come in, will get a swap onto Sharfik, for example. He does get the Phantom Strike out, and suddenly Iva, with his Shapeshift, won't be able to catch anything. So they get the 1 kill, but it's just Axe. He has a point booster now, so he's a little bit more tanky than in the previous fights. And oh, Inquisitor, he gets jumped. Immediate crits from Sharfik, but the stun is there in return. Inquisitor, Ice Blast flying. It's gonna connect on the support, but they're far enough, or are they? Sharfik comes back in. He's gonna get 1 kill, maybe even the second, but the Paralyzing Cast gets value, bounces right here. Sharfik is gonna go down, I think, to the Maledict. Oh.
Yeah, that's the end of Sharfik's life, and the Witch Doctor survives as well. Abash barely making it out with the Witch Doctor, or with the Ancient Apparition Ultimate only being level 1. Now Leech Commander coming in from the sidelines gets a duel on the Khan. Can they do much? They are going to Earth Spike up Afterlife. The Blade Mail is doing a little bit of work, but definitely not enough. Afterlife going to get bashed up by the Apathy, and they'll bring down the Leech Commander. He got a little overzealous, but in the meantime, with the double damager, and Lycanthrope pushes top.
Yeah, I had the Necrobook coming off cooldown, being level 3 as well. So in the end, it's still gonna be like a decent-ish trade for Album Sheet, although like I said, Legion Commander just... Well, at least it didn't give away damage, so that's a positive side for things, but... Definitely not the fight they should have taken there. They escaped with their supports nicely. The 2 supports managed to kill off a Phantom Assassin, and I think Album Sheet should have been fine with just that.
Yeah. Even though theoretically Troll's really good at pushing towers, Aspera just haven't been able to find those engagements. And even though Album Sheet take a subpar engagement where they lose to their Legion Commander after the fact, they're still constricting Aspera's ability to actually be on this map. Right now their control over their own woods is incredibly limited. Right now they just don't have any vision, except for inside the enemy woods, I suppose.
Well, 15 to 10 the kill score, Lycan with the Necro level 3. Becoming pretty damn scary, up to 1.2k after this as well. So, is there a need for a BKB this game if you really like him?
I don't really think it would do much for him, except for stop the Lion. So I think it depends on how much he feels that the Lion's initiation is really stopping him inside all of these fights. I still think it's a fine item and probably the choice.
I think it's definitely Lion is the scariest. Maybe the Ice Blast as well somewhat, but other than that, everything goes for BKB anyway, more or less, if you're at Aspera. Or at least anything that really matters up against the Lycan, so maybe AC wouldn't be too bad. Lots of physical damage coming out from Aspera as well, of course. We'll see though. Afterlife definitely is going for a BKB. He just wants to make sure that he doesn't get spiked up or maybe even hexed while he's going for a duel himself, something like that. Just plays it extremely safe for the time being. And that's like the great thing about the Legion Commander. You do not really need to build damaging items, and although he doesn't have the craziest amount of duel damage acquired for the time being, it's still just 48 points of random damage coming out for him.
Yeah, it's perfectly serviceable, and with the Blade Mail, he actually doesn't need the damage on his person, as long as he has more HP than the enemy, and for now, the Apathy can't really compete unless he gets a couple of lucky bashes.
In the meantime, there is a smoke from Aspera. They're going for the tier 1. They're trying to, or they're hoping somebody from Album Sheet will come in and defend, but looks like Album Sheet, they're like, screw this guys, tier 2 for tier 1, we're gonna win this trade. With the Necro Wolves out, or Necro units out, and the Wolves, Howl used of course as well, easy tier 2. And do even Album Sheet just keep on pressuring? Do they force Aspera back instead?
Why not? I mean, at this point in Aspera, they commit towards the smoke and they lay the troll out for bait, and nobody's actually taking it. It really feels like they're not getting back fast enough. Look at that tier 3 tower fall. It's probably not going to be taken, or at least the barracks in its entirety, but this tier 3 might not be so lucky. At the very least, they get 2/3 of the damage onto it for absolutely nothing committed, except for the remnants of the tier 2 tower pushed down towards bottom. They'll lose a Necro book or two after the fact, and that's 400 gold towards the enemy team that can't be understated, but it's still a favorable trade.
Yeah, most certainly so. It's just such value coming out from there, but then again, now Aspera do have their BKBs. Oh, never mind. Both sides gets one BKB each. Legion Commander gets his. Troll, his own as well. But Sharfik with the Invisor on the hunt. Oh god, Inquisitor might survive this. Pretty damn tanky to be honest, but is he going to be tanky enough? No crits yet. Ice Blast is also flying, and with the Ice Blast, I think it's going to be enough. Oh nope! The swap out into the duel. Perfectly done. Afterlife wins another duel for him. Easy 14 plus damage. Metrim. Paralyzing Cask not gonna bounce to anything, or is it? Oh god damn, the creep camp, but the Blink Berserker Skull. They might turn things around, but suddenly Hakon is stunned up. The Apathy does come in, but Afterlife with his BKB might get the kill here. He doesn't get any right clicks going though, so Afterlife I think is gonna just die here, or is he Blade Mail activated? He needs a little bit more, but Spike is there. Metrim stays alive with 60 HP, but that's just enough to escape.
Yeah, really nice turn to start that out from Album Sheet, but in the end, Legion Commander gets isolated away from the entire enemy team, wants to make something more happen out of that BKB charge, which I can definitely understand, but again, it's Legion Commander getting a little too overconfident in the positioning and trying to get those kills. It's not all bad for them. They take over the enemy woods in the meantime and are putting pressure on the enemy side of the map, so the 2-for-1 isn't terrible, especially since they get dual damage out of it, but I think that could have been avoided.
I definitely have to agree with you, but oh god, Troll might be in some trouble if they just get some slows or stuns on him.
No, it looks like the Apathy, at least for now, is okay, and he's bringing in some backup behind him. Lycanthrope inside the shapeshift for him, that's going to be wearing off fairly shortly, and we could be in for a fight, but both teams, at least for now, are going to be content in just farming up, and in fact, both of them are spotted out, if I'm not mistaken, so that should be all she wrote.
So Axe, in the meantime, does finish up his Aghanim Scepter, and unfortunately still a level 2 ultimate still. Really hasn't been able to just snowball out on control by any means. But will this Aghanim Scepter even make a huge difference here?
I don't think so, but he's gonna look for a blink call in mid with some help coming out from Sharfik. They might be able to get that kill. Defensive swap going to keep them out alive. Finger of Death and the dunk onto the poor Vengeful Spirit. For now, that's all that Aspera are able to find as they look towards more. Blinking with the Blade Mail as well as the BKB activated. As Afterlife looks to drop Khan low. The Viper continues to go strong, but way too strong. Behind the tower, dunk from Khan going to the end of his life. Afterlife dropping low and can't actually sustain through this. The Witch Doctor ultimate being channeled is nice and all, but not nice enough as he's the only one that's really surviving.
Witch Doctor, after this fight now, will finish up the Aghanim Scepter. Had he had the Aghanims, I think he might have been able to kill a target or two with that Death Ward, because it was there for pretty much the full duration. Had he gotten the full bounces, I think they would have gotten a couple of counter kills, but suddenly They lose a massive team fight. They lose 2 of the core heroes. Afterlife, I'm not too sure if he was out of range of dueling the axe immediately as he blinked in. Definitely felt like he would have been close enough. Or just hesitated to go for that particular target. No idea what it was about. But easy kills and, well, what do you know? Roshan is also up.
Yeah, and they'll be able to take it very fast with the troll popping that ultimate. Roshan not going to be long for this world. He's hexed up and they're going to be able to secure themselves in Aegis. As Album Sheet are not close enough. Although they're going to smoke, I don't think they're going to find anything with it because it doesn't really look like they know or care that Roshan has been taken. That's a second life for Sharfik.
Definitely gonna come in handy for the next fight, and suddenly Axe up to 2k gold. He literally just finished the Aghanim Scepter before the previous fight, but with the tier 1 falling and Roshan on top of getting the free kills there, not too shabby. But what's the next item? Do you still go back for a Blade Mail, or never mind, I guess Plate Mail into Shiva's then?
Yeah, I think that's also a pretty solid way to go about it. I would have liked to see the Blade Mail, and I think it definitely still has its merits, but you already have the BKB up from the Liege Commander, and it would lose a little bit of its effectiveness. They look towards top, towards the Ancient Apparition, as Vaxa looks like he's going to be taken up very easily. Ancient Apparition can't actually do anything about this. He'll get cast up, and with the vast amount of heroes rotating, and all I can do is turn for an Ice Blast, which does connect, but doesn't actually matter. It looks like they didn't expect that either. Jump in with the call onto the Witch Doctor. That's going to be an easy dunk kill for Khan as they pursue for more, even with the Lycanthrope ult form. X is still pursuing him, but not actually going to be able to chase him up as the Blink Dagger wasn't going to come out in time.
The speed lasts for so long, to be honest, man. It's 6 seconds, but it felt like it's a hell of a lot longer. Or never mind, it's 10 seconds with the Aghanims. It's pretty massive, to be honest. It just helps you get that secondary Berserker's Call, even if somehow your Blink Dagger is disabled from like a Maledict or something of the sort. But after Album Sheet, rather, they're still poised to go for some aggression. They want to go with another dual win if they can help it, as the Dire Courier got killed by
a Lycanwolf. It was delivering Metrum, I believe. Just some wards or some support items. Down towards bottom, dual victory. As they do connect with a kill, defensive swap going to get them out of the call. Now they turn towards Khan. He's going to dunk a creep for a little bit of extra movement speed, and that's going to be enough to keep him out to safety.
So, a nice dual win, 76 points of damage. Afterlife now, it's just like one creep wave away from getting that level 3 ultimate. So we'll start getting the max amount of dual damage that you can from a dual win. And of course, getting a kill on Troll is always going to be nice, although he has a buyback. Just because level 16, I guess, isn't all that high. And if you look at the levels in general, 16 is the highest in the game for the time being. So nobody's really pulled ahead by any means. If you look at the graphs as well, only about like a 4k lead for Album Sheet and Net Worth XP. Pretty much zeroed out.
Yeah, it really feels like neither team has found themselves with a comfortable advantage throughout this entire game. A lot of it has to do with just small misplays. In particular for Afterlife, I hate to be so critical, but the last couple jumps on this LC have really not been doing that much. Bar that small pickoff down towards bottom, the previous fights have been very lackluster.
Almost certainly so. So at the moment, 18 to 16, more or less everything is even, but like we just discussed earlier, Pro Aspera have the better late game, especially once Vaxa gets himself that Aghanim Scepter up on the Ancient Apparition. It's going to be pretty huge for them. Lion also closing in on that level 3 ultimate. Suddenly it's going to be only 60 seconds cooldown. Now though also at the same time, AC is finished up on Lycan, so it might be the item that they were waiting for to like try to go for a fight near the enemy base. And if you win the fight, you can go for Rax. If you don't win the fight, well, it can happen also, but probably if they can help it, taking a fight close to the enemy base but not entirely in the base is preferable for them.
Definitely so. For now, both teams have been sitting on their side of the map and just getting as much as they can. And I think this is a fine move from both teams, as neither side really have a significant advantage either way. Gem on the line is going to mean that he'll go out for a little bit of dewarding, spots out a Lycanwolf on his way. But outside of that, nothing too crazy. The Vengeful Spirit's actually deciding to go for some sort of evasion. It should be Halberd. I'm interested to know the reason behind him going for the evasion first rather than for the extra strength from the Halberd, however. It doesn't really feel like Phantom Assassin is that big of an issue.
Yeah, at the moment, I guess Troll Warlord can attack really fast, and well, with the help of the Troll, everybody attacks fast. So I guess it maybe gets a little bit extra value considering that everybody has extra attack speed, but Signage definitely is usually at least the item that people go for first, just to get the draw survivability against anything like magic damage. If you get Finger of Death, Talisman of Evasion does nothing for you, for example, and Lion really hasn't been focusing only on cores with the Finger. He hasn't really been afraid to use it on a support if it just secures an easy kill.
Yeah, definitely so. Especially if you have the axe nearby, the kill threshold is pretty darn ridiculous. We're almost at level 16 for both of his heroes, and once you have that, that's 850 magic damage coming out from the line, and all you have to do is bring them down below 650 for the axe to decapitate them, which means that the effective HP on these supports is very limited, even though you do have some tanky items being built up for them.
So, looks like both teams have gone back to just kind of passive farming game at the moment. Nobody wants to make a mistake, but Witch Doctor with the Aghanims, so far his ultimate has gotten free reign in most fights, to be honest. So Aspera, if I was them, I would be pretty damn concerned about killing off the Witch Doctor first. Or at least making it so that you can disable his death ward once it comes out.
I think you save one of Lion's disables for it. Outside of that, they just don't have a sustained way to actually cancel off that channeling. They have the bash from the PA, as well as from the Troll Warlord, but that's just not something you can rely upon. Even if he gets it out for a couple more seconds, that could be the difference when you're dealing with a level 2 Death Ward that's bouncing through all of your heroes. Halberd now completed up for the Vengeful Spirit, and that is going to be a very useful tool for Inkvisor, especially once the BKBs are down lower in duration. Currently 9 seconds, and well, speaking of BKBs, it's popped up by Sharfik as they look towards Afterlife, trying to jump him, oh my goodness. But they will throw him into the junk with an axe dunk. There's actually just not much that you can do at that point. LC did not see what hit her.
Well, it's just now Axe also, of course, having this level 3 ultimate makes it a hell of a lot easier, and with this gold now, unless you want to finish up AC, that is gonna be that Shiva's card finished. So Aspera, they're just biding their time, getting the farm going, and Viper, since he didn't go for a Midas, just not really getting too much farm for himself. Just as the mech Aghanim Scepter, it's not all that scary for Aspera, especially since they do have the extra movements with coming out from the dunks that they get.
Yeah, I would like to see a Sakuras from the axe. It doesn't really feel like he needs that much more mana, although Shiva's Guard definitely has its merits. It looks like it is going to be an AC, although Courier is going to be sniped by these Lycan Wolves. The extra Howl damage is going to be enough. Oh, going to be very close. Is the Juke's going to be there? It's not, and that's 2,000 gold down the drain. Lucky enough for the axe, I suppose. He was still a little bit out from these Sakuras, but that's going to be denied from him for 3 minutes.
Yeah, he only needed 150 gold. That's actually pretty huge. 3 minutes with no AC. But Album Sheet, by the way they're positioning themselves on the map, doesn't really look like they want to take full advantage of the fact. I'm not too sure if they saw what was on the courier, if they know the Hyperstone was there or not, but it's... I mean, Album Sheet, do they think that they just have the better late game, or do they really go in all in late game with just, we're gonna jump in, get the duel on one of the cores, kill that hero as fast as we can as a combined effort, and just try to win a fight from the numbers advantage after? Or, I mean, do they, or can they even think that they have the better late game here?
I mean, it's really hard to call late game, even though it looks like Aspera have it pretty much in the bag. They do have a Legion Commander on their side that is starting to stack up a decent amount of damage, and maybe they can fall back on that, and Lycanthrope's pushing power never really falls out of vogue if you are actually able to win a fight. So I don't know. Right now, I think it's an okay choice just to wait for the next items, but I think it's probably one of the biggest advantages they're going to get in the next 10 minutes.
Well, at the moment, Aghanim Scepter for Voxa is still 2 components away. He has enough gold for one of those, but the Smoke Man Album Sheet, they need to make something happen with this. Of course, even if they win a fight, I don't think Roshan will be up immediately so. Unless the fight takes longer than a minute, which it very well might in all fairness. But they just use the smoke, if not to get kills, at least get some vision down at the same time.
Aspera going to meet that smoke with a smoke as they look down towards bottom, and both teams looks like this isn't going to find a fight. It's just going to secure themselves a little bit of vision on the enemy side of the map, which is very useful, don't get me wrong, but not exactly what they had in mind. Since Aspera aren't defending at their tier 3s, it's pretty obvious that they're doing something outside of their map, and now Album Sheet going to look to put some pressure, but everybody from Aspera is already TP'd back.
Man, this game is a little bit weird, but mid lane, oh, the jump comes in, but the swap was at the same time as Afterlife wanted to go for the duel. He's still gonna get the duel and win it as well. Easy kills for them, but Sharfik, his BKB was used, that's pretty huge for the Phantom Assassin. Although the initiation was still failed, I'd say, from Album Sheet in a sense that Afterlife, he blinked into duel at the same time that the Vengeful Spirit swapped the target out.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of miscommunication, and they do force out a buyback from the apathy. If they're able to find a jump in again, this could be disastrous for Aspera, but for now, Album Sheet, I think they'll be okay with what they've gotten. Blink into the creeps, however, Sharfik, this has opened him up to a huge amount of hurt from the Witch Doctor. He's got to be magic missiled and brought down. He already used his BKB previously, which means that Album Sheet are able to find themselves a huge advantage. We now have that Assault Cuirass up for a con, but Aspera, they're going to be on the ropes.
Man, all it takes this late into the game is just a couple of mistakes. There's the swap, they need the stuns, they do get the stun, but the Blink Berserker Skull catches at least to Hakon though. Earth Spike to follow, Ice Blast as well. It's huge, although the X dies, but Phantom Assassin is back in the fight. Iowa on the run with the shapeshift as Lion does go down to Paraban, but Paraban, when his BKB ends, he's gonna be royally screwed. Phantom Strike, Stifling Dagger as well, they get the kill. Inquisitor, Bash, not gonna come out with the first hit. Still, they do defend the racks. They get 3 kills, lose 2 I think. Of course they lost a couple earlier, but that was like the combination of ultimates you want to use.
It was, and even though they come out ahead and the raw experience that they get from that fight in particular, they lose the Troll and they lose the Phantom Assassin beforehand, and both of those heroes had to buy back. So I think that push, all things considered, for Album Sheet is completely acceptable, and honestly really good for them. Gets in a little bit more damage on the Leech Commander, and Lycanthrope's able to survive.
I think in that sense it's definitely nice, I mean, all in all, but it's just a Aspera. As long as they hold on, I think it's fine. But then again, Roshan is going on now. Voxa, he's just going to go down to the Necro Warriors and Wolves, maybe. The center helps with the Hoof Stomp. And Charfik, they're just clearing off the Necro books now. And back to Roshan they go. No minus armor because Axe isn't there with the AC. But Iva pops the Shapeshift. He wants to go and fight Inquisitor. He's around. Are there BKBs? Yes, there are. They are going to go for the Vengeful first. But yeah, but just physical damage is too much. The Death Ward as well. Charfik comes back in, but the bash is onto a bash. Stop the Death Ward for now. Charfik though just doesn't have enough damage, doesn't get enough lucky crits there. Svox are gonna get chased down. Maledict is there, but Hakon gets 1 kill. Can you get more? The dunk, it's gonna come out. Your spike as well onto Iva. It's a huge fight. Hex is there, but not enough damage. Everyone is backing off for some reason as Iva. There's the duel coming out, and Hakon won't get the dunk, but Finger of Death gets the kill in the end anyway. So a 4-4-3.
Afterlife going to be hexed up over on the sidelines as Metrum tries to make himself scarce. Buyback from the Lycan, so they'll be able to secure themselves a very easy Aegis and maybe even a high ground push after the fact. They know for a minute there's no Troll and there's no Phantom Assassin. That Phantom Assassin probably wouldn't have died under normal circumstances, but that paralyzing cast bouncing back and forth from just the PA as well as the Centaur. There was actually nothing that she could do at that point. That's your Aegis, that's your cheese for the Radiant side. Now Album Sheet going to put things together and try to barrel down high ground, and I think they'll be able to do it.
I have to say that this is like one of the least impactful Phantom Assassins I've seen in quite some time. Net worth wise, of course, she's just number 5, but just doesn't feel like she's doing any damage in the fight somehow.
Either by not getting the lucky crits, but I think more than anything, it's just Album Sheet kiting her around with the Lycanthrope inside his shapeshift form being so annoying. The Viper Strike slowing her down, and as well as having defensive swaps, it really doesn't feel like PA's been able to stick. The first hit bash from the Troll really helps them out in that last fight, but not enough if you look at their structures. And this is the danger of going up against the Lycanthrope. Since they already spent the buybacks previously, they're going to lose the structures now. Afterlife taking a very sketchy fight into the tier 4 is going to get bashed down by the Apathy. They lose their melee barracks in mid. Let's see how many heroes are going to fall after the fact. Ultimate from the Lion going to drop down Viper, and that's going to be your Aegis, but the ultimate challenged by Witch Doctor. They don't have a way to cancel it. They do have the call now. Bash is going to get bashed by the Apathy, looking to stick onto this Witch Doctor, but now slowed down by the Viper. The Apathy just can't do it. Magic Missile up. He's going to be dropped. And Jefferson Ice Blast flies through, doesn't catch out the Witch Doctor over in the sidelines. Metrum now going to lose his life. That's Lion down, and Album Sheet? They've blown this game wide open. Now 2 barracks ahead.
Yeah, I think they are going to even get the 3rd Drax. Axe doesn't have buyback, neither does the Troll. I mean, Lion is coming. He's going to have the Finger of Death as well, but just with the Shapeshift activated, I think the racks go down way too fast. Do they have... Well, Death Ward is on cooldown, so that's a positive. Nice Earth Spike as well, but melee racks down range racks will be just an easy thing for them to take, and GG is called. A long game with lots of post time as well, but Album Sheet in the end, they do take it out, and it's just forcing the buybacks earlier on Aspera's 2 core heroes was what really gave them the advantage, probably.
Yeah, that was really it. They are able to capitalize on that advantage so much, and this is going to be a nice victory for Album Sheet's side.
Well, Album Sheet, they do avoid disaster, so Aspera now, they're going to be 2-1, as is Album Sheet, I do believe. But we're going to have 2 more games coming up today, guys. It is going to be London Conspiracy versus Album Sheet coming out next. So should also be a pretty damn exciting game, and probably whoever wins, or if Album Sheet win that game, they're looking good to advance from this group. If London Conspiracy wins, it's still all very much so in the open. Aspera, Album Sheet. I mean, to be honest, every team can still take it if they play well, but having said that, guys, this is it for this best of one. We're gonna head into the lobby for the next because it should have started 20 minutes ago, so probably gonna be up rather soon. So guys, stick around, don't go anywhere, and London Conspiracy versus Album Sheet coming out next.